Hello, fellow demigods and goddesses, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I am going to be ranking the first 5 Percy Jackson books, and which ones are my personal favorite. Before I begin this review, let me give you a quick little synopsis on this series as a whole so you get the gist of what Percy Jackson is all about. Percy Jackson and the Olympians is a fantasy series by Rick Riordan that blends Greek mythology with the modern world. The story follows Percy Jackson, a 12-year-old kid who constantly feels like he doesn't fit in. He struggles in school, gets into trouble without meaning to, and feels like everyone expects him to fail. Eventually, he learns he's a demigod, which is a half-human, half-god, and he is sent to Camp Half-Blood, a safe place for kids like him. Along the way, Percy forms a core trio. Annabeth Chase, she is smart, strategic, and always thinking 10 steps ahead. And last but not least, Mr. Grover Underwood. He is Percy's loyal best friend who always believes in him, even when Percy doesn't. Together, they're all thrown into quests involving monsters, prophecies, and conflicts between the gods themselves. What starts as a fun adventure story slowly turns into something bigger, a series about identity, loyalty, destiny, and choice. So the first book is The Lightning Thief, second book is Sea of Monsters, third book is The Titan's Curse, the fourth book is The Battle of the Labyrinth, and the fifth book is The Last Olympian. Starting at number 5 is Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. I know this one is not probably much of a shock to some of you who have read this series. This one does tend to be on the lower ranking end, but it's still a fun story. I'm going to read the little synopsis on the back so you guys get an idea what this story will be about. So this one says, Percy Jackson's 7th grade year has been surprisingly The adventure definitely reflects a lot of that uncertainty that the characters go through, especially Percy, Annabeth, Tyson, Grover, and other characters that I can't mention. But it definitely emphasizes that heroism isn't about being chosen. It's simply about choosing to act in desperate times and desperate measures when you're kind of thrown into the mix of difficult decisions. Sure, this book is a little more quieter than the others. I would say the first one kind of just throws you right into the mix of everything that's happening without giving you a little bit of a second to breathe. But I would say this one's definitely one of the most important ones in terms of emotion. And now number 4 on my list is the very first book, the one that started it all, Percy Jackson and the Olympians and the Lightning Thief. Here is the summary, and it says, Percy Jackson is about to be kicked out of boarding school. Again. And that's the least of his troubles. Lately, mythological monsters and the gods of Mount Olympus seem to be walking straight out of the pages of Percy's Greek mythology textbook and into his life. And worse, he's angered a few of them. Zeus's master lightning bolt has been stolen, and Percy is the prime suspect. Now Percy and his friends have just 10 days to find and return Zeus's stolen property and bring peace to a warring Mount Olympus. But to succeed in his quest, Percy will have to do more than catch the true thief. He must come to terms with the father who abandoned him, solve the riddle of the oracle, which warns him of betrayal by a friend, and unravel a treachery more powerful than the gods themselves. There is honestly so much to say about this book. This one is definitely a classic. It's what started this franchise to begin with, and it's what sucked me into Greek mythology to begin with. At its core, yes, this book is mainly about self-discovery. But as the story progresses, you really see that his traits and his gifts are really what make him special. And when he really puts his mind to it and uses those gifts, he's more capable than he believes within himself. And let me tell you, dude, the amount of sass that this kid has, I honestly think this is why, like, my sass meter if you know me well enough, has gone through the roof because the amount of comebacks that Percy has for certain characters, enemies, friends, like people he just meets, like he just is so quick-witted, and there's so many moments that just have me laughing out loud. It's really simple, but that simplicity is what makes Percy's story and overall journey really special, and it really kickstarts the beginning of a soon-to-be amazing series. Truthfully, nothing but good things to say about The Lightning Thief. If you have not read Percy Jackson now, I recommend picking it up right now. You will thank me later. Now, number 3 on my list is The Battle of the Labyrinth. Percy Jackson isn't expecting freshman orientation to be any fun, but when a mysterious mortal acquaintance appears on campus, followed by demon cheerleaders, things move quickly from bad to worse. Story of my life, bro. In this 4th installment of the blockbuster series, time is running out as war between the Olympians and the evil Titan Lord Kronos draws near. Even the safe haven of Camp Half-Blood grows more vulnerable by the minute as Kronos' army prepares to invade its once impenetrable borders. To stop the invasion, Percy and his demigod friends must set out on a quest through the labyrinth, a sprawling underground world with stunning surprises at every turn. The Battle of the Labyrinth is really adventurous and really fun. This book in particular had me on the edge of my seat and had me really rooting that Percy and his friends were going to be able to stop Kronos in time before he essentially resurrects. It's the calm before the storm in a way, but it's also the beginning of the battle that is soon to come. I was tossing back and forth when I was rereading this series again, but yeah, this one's definitely in the top 3 for sure. Now, number 2 on my list is none other than the final book in the series, which is The Last Olympian. All year, the Half-Bloods have been preparing for battle against the Titans, knowing that the odds of victory are grim. Kronos' army is stronger than ever, and with every god and half-blood he recruits, the evil Titan's power only grows. While the Olympians struggle to contain the rampaging monster Typhon, Kronos begins his advance on New York City, where Mount Olympus stands virtually unguarded. Now, it's up to Percy Jackson and an army of young demigods to stop the Lord of Time. In this momentous final book and the New York Times best-selling series, the long-awaited prophecy surrounding Percy's 16th birthday unfolds. And as the battle for Western civilization rages on the streets of Manhattan, Percy faces a terrifying suspicion that he may be fighting against his own fear. This book is the emotional payoff in the entire series as a whole. Percy definitely breaks the status quo in this book, but it's so beautifully done in a way where, yeah, he does a lot of things that are reckless and it nearly gets him killed, but he's smart about it. The first time I ever read this book, I was in New York City. So what better place to read the final battle than in New York City itself? I was touring the city. I was doing some touristy things. I was going through the museums. I was walking the streets of Manhattan. I went to Times Square again. I saw a Broadway show. You know, I was doing all the things typically as a touristy non-New Yorker does. But I was reading this book at the same time. So when Percy was describing like, oh, like this bridge got destroyed, or I'm on 32nd Street, or he's rushing to the Empire State Building, like I felt like I was, like, I know I wasn't physically there, but when I was picturing it and you're in the streets of New York, you feel like you're with these characters marching the battlefield with them, which is so awesome. Yeah, I have no idea where 31st West Street is, but I know where Central Park is. Overall, it was just such a powerful and satisfying conclusion to the series. Needless to say, The Last Olympian holds a very special place in my heart, and every time I pick up this book, even if I'm not physically in New York City, it brings me back to that time when I was reading this in New York, and I still feel like I was with Percy on that battleground with him. And last but not least, which is my overall favorite book in the series, at number 1 is The Titan's Curse. When Percy Jackson receives an urgent distress call from his friend Grover, he immediately prepares for battle. He knows he'll need his powerful demigod allies at his side, his trusty bronze sword Riptide, and a ride from his mom. The demigods race to the rescue to find that Grover has made an important discovery: 2 powerful half-bloods whose parentage is unknown. But that's not all that awaits them. The Titan Lord Kronos has set up a devious trap, and the young heroes have just fallen prey. Hilarious and action-packed, this third adventure in the series finds Percy faced with his most dangerous challenge yet: the chilling prophecy of the Titan's Curse. Now, this book in the series is where I feel like it really matures. The tone shifts drastically, the risks feel even more like detrimental, and it shows that being a hero comes with serious loss, that you can't save everyone no matter what you do. The prophecy is 100 times darker, I think, compared to the first two, and the story just takes so many drastic twists and turns that I honestly did not see coming. I just feel like Percy matures so much here, and he makes a lot of choices that I thought were pretty crazy and risky, and I thought he was going to get into a lot of trouble for it, but he was clever and he was smart about some things, but also he was really brave with a lot of decisions he made. Even the way this book starts off, it pushes you over the edge. I just realized what I said. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Annabeth. And one of the things I love about Percy Jackson and the series as a whole too is the humor and the sass. Oh my gosh. The amount of comebacks, again, this boy has, especially in this book, and especially in chapter 14, if you know what I'm talking about. There was just so many like I'm like laughing, like half crying, because I'm trying to deal with the emotional trauma that Rick just put us through, but also he's trying to throw in lighthearted moments, and then you're getting ready for like a battle the next second. It's like a total whiplash of emotions, and if this is what it's like to have ADHD, he did a great job at writing it, because even though I don't have ADHD personally, oh my gosh, I felt like I was in Percy's head and my brain was going in like overstimulation mode. Rick is one of the best authors out there. I'm not even going to deny that. His writing is incredible, and the way he just described things are simple enough to the point where things aren't overly complex. Because some authors, I'm not going to name who, but there are some that I have read, of certain fantasy series or even dystopian society books that go over the top with descriptions of buildings or places or prophecies or anything. And sometimes it can be too much, you know. I think even though this is a children's book series, I think the simpler the better when you're writing a book personally. Whether it's a character, whether it's you're describing a place, or even describing like the food they're eating or how the weather is. The simpler you make it, the more you can easily envision yourself in there. This book is my favorite for a reason. And if you're at this point in the series, or if you're highly anticipating to get to this part in the series, you will understand why. And I will happily have a conversation with other fellow Percy Jackson fans who love not only this book series, but this book in particular as much as I do. Overall, to wrap this thing up, I think what makes Percy Jackson so special is the fact that Rick Riordan respects his readers. And I feel like that's something a lot of authors lack these days, and they don't take the time and consideration to really have these characters grow alongside their readers. I mean, granted, these books came out when I was in elementary school. I was going through my Harry Potter phase, and then it wasn't until like early middle school that I was starting to get into Percy Jackson. So in a way, I really do feel like I grew up with Percy. All of these characters, good or bad, have a story to tell, and each one has something very beautiful to say, even if you may not essentially resonate with it internally. There's something that you can grasp from it that you can definitely learn from by using it again in real world experiences that you're going through by meeting other people or people who are essentially in your life at this moment. There are 5 more Percy Jackson books plus another 3. Third book isn't even out yet, but if you guys want me to review the next 5 Percy Jackson books, definitely let me know. I would love to talk about those books as I am currently rereading them right now. I am on the Mark of Athena, which is, I think, my favorite book in that, again, that series too. Alrighty, my fellow demigods and goddesses, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your favorite Percy Jackson book in the series is. I'd love to talk about it with you. And until next time, I shall see you all in Camp Half-Blood. Bye!